side of the country is recognized from the state of Washington.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chair Khan, as head of the Federal Trade Commission, I would just like to thank you for the FTC's investigations and enforcement actions that protect small businesses and hardworking Americans and promote competition. You have done what few before you have dared to do. Few before you have had the courage to take on big corporations who use their endless lobbying money to hurt Americans with more fees, less transparency, and higher costs. You're taking on big tech and the monopoly powers that allow them to use our data and snuff out small business competitors. That was something that yesterday I got a lot of bipartisan praise for in taking on Director Wray at the FBI around privacy. You're doing the same thing, and there should be more people like Representative Ken Buck talking about that on this committee, talking about the efforts that you are making to finally put teeth into protecting consumers, and I am grateful to you. In fact, I think it's precisely because of your success, your courage, and your integrity that you are receiving all these baseless attacks on your character. So just for the record, here are the facts. It was FTC ethics official L'Oreal Pankey who owned stocks in Meta when she recommended that Chair Khan recuse herself from investigating Meta, Facebook's parent company. In contrast, Chairwoman Khan owns no stocks in big tech, not one penny, and a federal judge ruled that her stances do not constitute a conflict of interest. So I want to thank you to your integrity and your commitment to mission, which is precisely why the President appointed you to head the FTC. Now, I want to spend my time talking about your accomplishments, the FTC's accomplishments under your leadership. 1 in 5 workers are affected by non-compete clauses, which essentially means that employers restrict or ban workers in their employment contracts from freely switching jobs, just for the average person who's out there listening. The FTC is currently working on banning these non-compete clauses. Can you explain in plain language why your agency proposed this rule to ban non-compete clauses?
I'm happy to, Congresswoman. I would be remiss if I didn't know you mentioned our ethics officer. From working with her, I know our ethics officer to be a dedicated career professional who serves the agency with nothing but its best interests at heart. I understand in that instance she sought guidance from the Office of Government Ethics and acted consistently with it. On non-competes, so these are clauses that lock in workers and prohibit them from being able to seek an alternative job with a competitor for a period of time and oftentimes geography limits. We've seen from our work that these clauses suppress worker wages to the tune of $300 billion. And they also make it difficult for startups and entrepreneurs and new businesses to enter and compete, and that's why we've proposed this rule.
And what types of workers are going to benefit from the implementation of that rule?
At the proposal stage, it would be everybody. We've heard from gardeners, journalists, healthcare workers, fast food workers, engineers, scientists. I mean, these non-compete clauses have really proliferated across markets and across our economy in ways that are now hurting everybody.
So let me turn to your work on junk fees. There are a few issues today that unite members of Congress more on the Hill, and I'm proud to say that junk fees attract the ire of both Democrats and Republicans because, as your agency notes, they are, quote, surprise charges that inflate costs while adding little to no value. So tell us how widespread these junk fees are and give us some examples of what you're talking about and how they harm consumers.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure everybody can relate to this in their day-to-day lives. These are mystery fees that show up, be it a resort fee charge on your hotel bill or an unwanted or unnecessary charge that shows up somewhere else. One of the areas where we've heard most about these junk fees is in the auto context. Buying a car is one of the most significant financial investments that people make, and unfortunately, we've heard that all too often consumers are saddled with charges for unnecessary or unwanted or redundant fees. We're moving forward there. We also brought a lawsuit last year against Vonage for also including some of these junk fees when people tried to cancel their subscriptions. So that's just some of the work. We currently sought comment on whether we should do more work on junk fees, including through potentially proposing a rule. we're reviewing those comments and determining how to move forward.
And the FTC's got a long history of dealing with junk fees, is that correct?
That's right.
Can you talk about that?
So again, in the auto context in particular, I mean, we've gotten hundreds of thousands of complaints about this. We've brought dozens of lawsuits addressing junk fees that consumers are saddled with when trying to buy a car. But it's really, market-wide that we've seen these charges emerge and that we're looking to be actively addressing.
Well, I want to thank you for your work and hope that we talk more about some of the shared interests that we have across the aisle. Thank you. I yield back, Mr. Chair.
Gentlelady yields